Balthazar, as you see. Abraham Lincoln is with me, and we are watching, and you are watching, famous cartoonists draw at night. They draw at night, by night. We're all here together, man. Buy their comics, buy my comics, shop.
Welcome to Cartoonist by Night. I am your host, Anthony Laatsch. We are joined here by Matt Rodgers, D. Brad Gibson. A warm welcome back to Troy Dongarra and our very special guest, Scoot McMahon. Scoot, how's it going?
It's going great here in Rossford, Ohio. Thanks, Anthony.
Excellent. What we're going to do on this show, we reached out to our guest and we asked what kind of topic he wanted to talk about and draw for this episode. And even though the people that are watching this already have seen the title, but Scoot, let us know what our topic is.
It is Batman, the Animated Series, the show that started in 1992 on Fox Kids.
Ooh, there we go. Good.
In prime time, right? Didn't it start
Some of them,
start out in prime time?
It was like, I think it debuted at least here on Saturday morning. And then the very next night on Sunday night, it was in prime time. And then it was weeknights at like 4:30 on Fox Kids. Yeah. So it was basically 7 days a week. You could watch it that first week.
Yeah. I remember getting home from school, and I think it was paired with Gargoyles. At least it was for us. So you'd get Gargoyles and Batman like back to back, and
probably that would have been 95 was Gargoyles, so that could have been later.
Okay, yeah, probably.
It could have been with Tiny Toons or Animaniacs.
That's probably those two when it started. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it was Animaniacs and Batman. Well, yeah, Tiny Toons, but Animaniacs and Batman the Animated Series were the ones that I like.
Yeah, same.
So what we're going to do on the show, we're going to talk about Batman the Animated Series and related spin-offs and continuing series, everything that kind of, falls in that line, as well as talk about Scoot McMahon, his life as a cartoonist, go through his work. I got some show and tell, some art that I pulled from his social media, as well as some commission work. We got a lot of stuff. We have a couple questions that we have prepped, not only from our audience, but as well as the people here at the show. But before we get to any of that, we like to start off the show just kind of talking about what we're going to be drawing. I usually start with Matt Rodgers, so let's jump over to you. Do you have any idea what you're going to at least be starting with today? No?
Nope. No, I have absolutely no clue.
You're the one I can always count on because, the other ones don't usually have it, and that's why I started with you. But, okay, fair enough. Well, you got
down.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. We'll check in throughout the episode. Let's jump over to D. Brad. We usually have some kind of pencil outline sketches going. So what's on your drawing board to start off?
Well, I'm drawing the characters, but I'm not drawing it in Bruce Timm style. I'm drawing it in my own style, but based on what they might have worn in the Bruce Timm designs. Cool. So this is Two-Face right now.
Two-Face.
Yeah, and, I'll probably do Batgirl next.
Ooh.
Excellent. Jump over to Troy. Do you have any idea what you're going to be drawing tonight?
I don't. Anthony? No?
It's been a while since I got to ask you that, so it feels just like old times to not get an answer. So
sorry. No.
And I'll switch to my board here, so I get my pencil sketches. I've been working on mini sketch cards. I have two of them penciled out. I told the guys in our group chat beforehand that I was going to work on two villains, but not telling them which. I absolutely love Clayface, so I have a giant Clayface face covering the entire sketch card there. And then I have a Two-Face as well. So I got Clayface and Two-Face, several faces on my drawing board. let's jump over to Scoot. I think he maybe has 5 drawings done during that intro. So
And I'll be drawing just as many things Batman the Animated Series as I can come up with, because the projects I'm working on right now I can't really talk about or show. So I'm just gonna doodle tonight, do Batman stuff.
well, we're happy to have you, and I'm glad we got the screen on there too. So the audience, not only the people that subscribe to us on YouTube, but as well as Beverly, Massachusetts. So bevcam.org puts our episodes on public access television in Beverly, Massachusetts. So we're introducing Beverly to the magic that is Scoot McMahon and the drawing board.
Hi, Beverly.
Hello.
All right, so we're just gonna jump right into it. Just hang out and chat, talk about stuff, and I usually have one question just to kind of get us started, and then we can just start branching off from there. So the question that I have here might be something that Scoot has talked about for a while, but I think it's always a very important part of a story, especially for a visual drawing show. And this is coming from our friend Kevin Kleinhans over at Under the Color of MS. And
Kirby.
Kirby.
Sorry.
And he's always wanted to know when and how Scoot came up with the drawing style, and how he keeps the design so perfect when his fist looks like it blocks the line of sight. So basically, can you kind of talk about the way that you draw and kind of when that started?
Yeah, I'm surprised that question was asked, because I've never been asked that before. Just
I was
kidding.
about to say, are you not asked that
Yeah.
every single time you're seen
Every
drawing?
Comic-Con, yeah, every time. But I don't mind. I mean, I know it looks different. It's just ever since I was a little kid, 2 years old, I guess, I started drawing, and that's how I drew. And it just took. I mean, I have no memory, obviously, of that, so I just go by what my parents said. But I just took to drawing, and I would draw all the time, and yeah, I just kind of stuck with it. Then, so I didn't really develop it. It's just natural. We all draw this way when we're 2 years old, but for some reason I was able to, I don't know, just stick with it. I did go through elementary school, and some of the teachers early on tried to break me of this for some reason. But luckily I had a great art teacher, Mrs. Fredericks, and she said, when you're in art class, you can draw however you want. So eventually over time I won, because the teachers just stopped trying to put those grippy things on my pens. Especially back then, writing was big. Kids had to learn cursive, and I could draw. My cursive was better than everyone else's too, my handwriting. So I think that's when they were just like, it doesn't matter what he does.
Yeah.
So I've just been doing it ever since. It's just the natural way to draw.
Now I want to exonerate myself. Earlier today in our chat, I brought up, I was like, so are we going to talk about the fist grip, or are we going to let it go this time? Because I'm sure he's probably been asked about it a million times.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I don't mind. I know it's weird.
I did it.
I think it's a very inspirational part of your story, and like just watching the short amount of time, just how quickly you have drawn this. Obviously, you've been drawn for quite some time, and the fact that obviously the way you draw is definitely what works best, and the proof is right there.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't really. When my son was little, obviously, like I said, everyone starts drawing this way, and he drew this way when he was, 1, 2, or 3, and then all of a sudden I noticed one day he was writing like the way everyone does, and I was like, "Why are you writing like that?" And he's like, "The teachers at school told me, they were like at his daycare, they were telling him how to write. Now he just writes the other way." So I kind of missed an opportunity there to have another one like me. There are other people, I've met them, but not too many artists. I don't know why. There are other people that write like this. Eric Larson writes weird too. He writes like odd. He has an odd grip, but
He's got like a weird thing like that.
yeah, he does. Yeah.
And when when your son had switched to that, did you end up getting a paternity test on that? Or
Yeah. Yeah. I was just like, man, I messed up.
Yeah, it's no matter how many times you've told it, I'm sure Beverly, Massachusetts is appreciating that, because I think
Yeah, I don't mind telling it. Like I said, I'll be doing Comic Cons this year, and every show someone asked me. I like when the people come up and they're like, I was like an older lady one time at one of these big shows, New York or Chicago. She was like watching me for a while quietly. And she's like, I was a school teacher and I don't know how they let you get through school like that. That would have drove me nuts. I don't know if I would have said something like, I don't know if I would have like let you write like that. I'm like, well, I'm glad I didn't have you for a teacher. And she kind of like looked at me. I'm like, I'm just kidding. But I wasn't. I'm like, I really am glad I didn't have you.
Oh,
Yeah, that doesn't seem too encouraging.
Yeah, I know. I was like, man, glad I didn't have that lady. Because it's like I'm doing it right now. I'm drawing you a commission, and you're saying if I was your student, you would have never let me like write like that,
Yeah. Like there's nothing wrong. Like it doesn't look like it held you back at all.
Right. It's like I always say it's like a because I watched a lot of basketball growing up in the 90s. It's like some basketball players shoot weird differently. But if they're in the NBA and they're still shooting weird, it's probably fine. They made it that far,
Yeah.
You have like bad form, what's considered bad form, like Reggie Miller from the Indiana Pacers. He had a horrible form when he shot, but he was so good at shooting.
I mean, even Larry Bird
Yeah.
he has a really bad form. He like puts the ball like to the side of his head in a weird way.
Yeah, Bill Cartwright from the Bulls had a horrible form, but yeah, I don't know.
All right, so we're also talking about Batman the Animated Series. So Scoot did some of my homework by mentioning when the show debuted and everything. And let's jump into Scoot first. If you kind of want to talk kind of like overall thoughts about like what that series means to you and like kind of rattle off like whether you have favorite characters or moments or episodes.
Yeah, we were just I have two younger brothers, and in 1992 when it debuted, I had just turned 12 years old, and that show was just huge because I had Batman comics and we were really into the 1989 and 1992 Tim Burton films. So I remember when we first saw the screenshots of the cartoon, we were a little bit disappointed because he wasn't wearing the all black costume. He was wearing like a combo of like the black with blue highlights and gray costume. But obviously after like the first episode, yeah, we loved it. So it was just from the very beginning, I was drawn to that style because the simple animation style, the simple angular style, and made for like really smooth animation most of the time. Sometimes there's some sloppy episodes in there, but compared to like the X-Men cartoon that started around the same time, that cartoon tried to draw the characters like they looked in the comics, and there was all kinds of animation mistakes on that show. But Batman was pretty consistently good. And overall the like writing on the show was excellent, and obviously my favorite episodes are probably the favorites that are always considered the best, like Heart of Ice and the Clayface two-part episode, the Two-Face two-parter. But I would have to say two of my favorites are Almost Got 'Em with all the villains, and Robin's Reckoning, the two-part episode of like Robin's origin on the show, was really good. And my favorite characters on the series aside from Batman were probably like the Dick Grayson Robin, because we barely saw him. He was only on like 10 episodes or something. And then villains, we always loved the Joker, but I would have to say Mr. Freeze right there on screen. He was like a cool villain, even though he was only in two of those early season episodes. And then of course, as time went on, they did such a good job with Harley Quinn. They kind of made her into a great character on that show. So those are probably my favorites.
Yeah, that Mr. Freeze, the Heart of Ice, that's usually, a very common one.
It's so good though.
But yeah, it definitely deserves all the praise that it gets. That's a perfect segue to jump over to Matt Rodgers because as Scoop pointed out, Rodgers, you are working on a Mr. Freeze, so we'll throw it over to you on basically the same kind of questions and just kind of favorite stuff and what the show is.
Yeah. Almost Got Him is like the best episode ever.
Yeah, it is good. Yeah.
So good. And I've noticed that my Mr. Freeze actually looks a lot like the old man from Futurama.
There we go.
Good news, everyone. Bad news. Yeah, I like it. It's a good show. And if I remember correctly, Darwin Cook like storyboarded the intro.
Oh, that was Batman Beyond.
Batman
Oh, is
Beyond,
that
yeah.
the Batman Beyond? Never mind then. Um,
I'll cut that out.
yeah, make me look smart.
I'll do an edit where you say that every like 10 minutes, and then
Yeah,
it's just being like,
Darwin Cook, fellas. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of somebody to draw. I'm not really very happy with this one at the moment, so I'm probably not going to keep it. But I like Troy's idea because I picked up this Batman blank
Oh,
that I might do something with. This is a reproduction of Batman 357, though.
oh yeah.
Cool.
The repros are pretty cool.
Yeah.
well,
They're
Yeah.
like,
I can
and they're
tell by
also
the
like they're
font.
better quality than the original. So if you happen to spend the money to get the original,
Yeah.
it doesn't look as nice as the redone ones because the
That-
paper is better and all that.
Is that the Hardak Batman?
The what?
Hardak, the robot. That's the company, Hardak.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't know what you were talking about, but yes.
Oh,
Couldn't remember the name. I just call it like Terminator Batman.
yeah. The name of the company that built him was called Hardak.
Oh, that's cool.
If I want to jump over to Troy, so once again, a warm welcome back to this very show that you came up with and assembled. But welcome back. Do you want to talk about what Batman the Animated Series means to you?
Yeah, I'm drawing Hardak Batman, which I totally knew from the very beginning what I was drawing. No, I think that I remember like didn't see. I think I remember seeing it first in prime time, and I really liked it. I think actually I liked that. I liked the animated Batman more than I like Batman in general, like for the
Yeah,
most part.
me too. That's my favorite version of him.
Yeah. When I was a kid, Batman was so Jim Aparo was on Detective mostly, and Norm Brayfogle was on the Batman title mostly, and then like they would switch off back and forth. Um, and I did like them, but I think the Batman animated, I have gone back and bought every incarnation of the cartoons that they released. Whereas I can't say I do that every time a trade paperback comes out of my childhood Batman stuff.
Yeah.
But I do tend to do it. I got the DVDs when they came out, and then when it came out as a Blu-ray box set, I got that. So I would say it's probably the most influential Batman for me.
Cool. Jump over to D. Brad. Same questions.
Okay. Well, I was a collector of Batman comics at the time, so I have those issues of Jim Aparo and Norm Brayfogle that Troy mentioned, and I really, really enjoyed Batman comics at the time. Um, I was after The Dark Knight Returns came out. Um, I think, yeah, I was collecting comics for quite a while then, and and then there was like talk about the movie coming out, '89 movie, and then so much Batman merchandise started coming out, and so I think in high school, every single day I wore a different Batman T-shirt, um,
That's so
and
cool.
went to see the Batman movie opening night, and um, yeah, so I was a big fan of Batman at the time. I collected everything, and then so when that show came out, um, I was like so thrilled and excited. I recorded every episode, so before it came out on all the Blu-ray and DVD, I had it on I still have my VHS copies that I recorded
That's
if I wasn't
awesome.
going to be home. Um, and and yeah, I was in university at the time, so I'd come home from classes and watch it. Um, and so if I couldn't make it, so it was good that I had it recorded. But that very first episode, I was just amazed at the animation quality. It was so good. I watched it again this week, but it's just so good, that animation.
Yeah.
And then so they did have different studios working on it. That's why they're able to make so many episodes for that first season, because they had to play it every day, right?
Yep.
And so it was like hit and miss sometimes with the animation sometimes. And that's I read that that's the reason why Bruce Timm redesigned it for the new Batman adventures.
Hmm.
He made a simpler style so he wouldn't get as many, because so many episodes he had to send back because they interpreted it wrong. But yeah, I think it's like probably in my top 5 shows of all time. Like, just not just cartoons, but of any show. I just love that show.
Yep. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I love that it takes place in a world that looks like the 1940s, but yet it has futuristic and modern things in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do they called it? Dark Deco or something like that?
Yeah, that's right. That's what they call it. Yeah, Dark
Got a lot
Deco.
of, like,
Yeah.
police blimps and stuff and things like
Yeah.
that.
And they adapted so many classic stories and adapted it really well. And
What
my
was
favorite episodes, probably there's one I really like. Besides the ones you guys mentioned, there's one in the final season with the new designs where something happens to Batgirl. I
Over
forget
the
what it's
Edge.
called. Over the Edge. Yeah, I love that one. That one just shocked me when I saw that one. What's going on?
Yeah, that was cool. It was like a what if.
Yeah, what if? Yeah, that was so good.
Yeah, my Batman love started with the reruns for Adam West. I'd get hand-me-down action figures from my brother's friend, and I started getting
Adam West ones?
yeah. So
Migos?
well, the ones that are kind of like designed like his Batmobile, like they're
Oh yeah. Yeah.
but they were still plastic action figures with cloth capes and everything.
Yeah.
But like the design of like the Penguin and all that stuff and Riddler, and so I had all that stuff, and then I started getting Detective Comics. I just had to double check, and it was the early 600 issues, so that would put it in late in late 80s with 89. So with the Burton movie and the love of that, and then right around the corner this animated series just kind of heightened the Batman love for me. But very much love the Tim Burton world. I love Batman Returns, so kind of getting that same sort of feel, getting the music and that Danny Elfman music, and kind of keeping that tone. All of that stuff just made me fall in love with Batman the Animated Series, and coming home from school and catching that that roughly 4 o'clock timestamp there, pairing it with Gargoyles later on, and just it was awesome just to get Batman. And I love the idea of whenever the episodes came on, like kind of being excited about like, all right, what are we getting this time? And
Yeah.
the villains circulated so many times, so it felt good to like, all right, here's another Clayface story. Oh, the Joker's back, and like it was just kind of cool just to kind of get a constant rotation of all those villains, just and not knowing which one you're getting until you tuned in.
Yeah, and early on Fox, if you remember, after an episode would end, they would immediately have a teaser for the next episode. It'd be like tomorrow on Batman.
Oh.
Harvey Dent has a grudge with Rupert Thorne. What will happen? Like Batman interferes, and there's a split or something. And they're like giving clues that he's going to become Two-Face or whatever.
Yeah. That was really cool that they set him up as a friend of Batman.
Yeah, he was in like 3 or 4 episodes as Harvey Dent before he ever became Two-Face.
And I think they did that for Poison Ivy too, didn't they?
They did, yep. She was in a couple too, yeah.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, Darwin Cook like storyboarded the intro.
That was Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond, yeah.
Batman Beyond. Never mind then.
I'll cut that out.
Yeah, make me look smart.
I'll do an edit where you say that every like 10 minutes, and then
Yeah.
it's just being like.
Darwin Cook, fellas.
And when it comes to favorite characters, Clayface, as I'm drawing right here, I'm just searching what color brown I'm going to start with. I got my little color charts here with my markers, but it's kind of where I'm at with the Clayface, and that's why I picked that one, because Clayface is my favorite. In every iteration, seeing him in the comics, and then even the current Harley Quinn animated series, and just being real wacky and hilarious. And but what I loved about his episodes, I love the tragic monster characters. I'm a fan of Swamp Thing and things like that. So I think Clayface, I just love that story, and him just being a monster and trying to cover it up, and then the ability to obviously just transform his hand and arm into an axe or something. Like, I just loved everything that Clayface would bring to the table. And then for the last part of mine, when it comes to favorite episodes, mine is going to actually go to, I think it was technically in was it the New Adventures of Batman with the Mad Love story?
Yeah. Comic came out designed like the first season, and then they adapted the comic with the New Adventures.
So looking at my drawing screen here, I have a copy. This is kind of what Troy had mentioned, just kind of picking up
That's
all the iterations and versions.
Yeah.
So Mad Love is the one thing that I think I have 3 or 4 copies of, but the one that I wanted to bring to the table here, oh, we got one right there, and Troy's as well. Awesome. And what I loved about this copy, I have a couple tabs here, is because this was given to me from my friends in Mexico, and so this is all in Spanish. And what is cool is that they went ahead and created their own little post-it note things that they taped right into the book, and they did some translations and basically like DVD commentary, if you will. So I have a couple pages here where Harley's dancing, so they have the "I Feel Pretty, Oh So Pretty" and some music notes. On the next page, let's see here. Oh, that was that one there. And let's see here. Better known as El Guasan, so the Joker. The
Joker, yep.
Better known as El Guasan in Mexico, at least. So that was
El Guasón.
Guason. And then
El Guasón.
There's some personal commentary they wrote in on this one, saying that Jared is way hotter, so they preferred Jared Leto's version of the Joker.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
they're the only ones.
I'll never see this, so that's okay. And then let's see here. Oh, this one I especially love, because when I first met them, and anytime I talked to them in text, I've met them several times and everything. Whenever they would laugh, because I'm always telling jokes, they always typed out ja ja J-A. So I was actually excited to see the Joker was laughing in Spanish in here.
Ha ha ha! Yeah.
But they made a specific note, because later on in the book, anytime there's laughter, it's all in English. So this is the only time that it just says ja ja ja.
Oh, really?
Interesting.
And then they have some personal commentary. We'll see if this will be a good question for everybody. But they have my favorite Batman is George Clooney, by the way. So let's go down the line. Now, Kevin Conroy is the voice of Batman in the series that we've been talking about here. If we were to take him off the table, just because, that I don't know if we all agree that he's the best, but he's great. Let's start with Scoot, though. Do you have a favorite portrayal of Batman?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because I do like different versions, but I'll probably have to go with the Michael Keaton version, because that was the one, even though the Adam West version is the one I first, like the Adam West series was on syndication. So that's where I first kind of learned everything about Batman and Robin and stuff. But the Michael Keaton one was the one that was really, it felt like my Batman, because I was 8 years old when that came out, and everyone was all about that movie. So Michael Keaton always comes to mind, live action. But I don't hate, like, Val Kilmer or George Clooney or Christian Bale or even Affleck, and I do like the new Pattinson one as well. So I don't really hate any of them. I like them all for different reasons, but I'm going to go with Keaton as my favorite.
There you go. Let's jump over to Matt Rodgers. Favorite Batman?
Oh, Michael Keaton.
There we
He's
go.
the best one. He's awesome.
We got two Keatons. Let's jump
Two.
over to Troy. Outside of Kevin Conroy, who is your favorite Batman?
Is it Diedrich Bader?
Yeah, Diedrich Bader.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Their
Oswald.
Batman Brave and the Bold cartoon was pretty good. Now my daughter, when that cartoon came out, we didn't have cable, but Cartoon Network would show the most current episode on their website.
Oh, yeah.
And as an infant, she would sit on my lap while we watched it. So I have pretty good memories of that cartoon. For that
That's
reason.
cool.
Great answer. D. Brad, favorite Batman? You can say yourself if you want.
No.
D. Brad, man. D.
See,
Brad, man.
when I first
Hey, man.
saw the Michael Keaton one, I thought he was good as Batman, but I didn't like his costume. He looked like a duck to me, even though I like ducks.
I was
I
about
love
to say, I
ducks.
thought you loved ducks.
Yeah, but it wasn't right at the time. So they did fix his mask in the second one, Batman Returns. So I liked, and the way he moved, it was just so weird. And
Really
so,
stiff. Yeah.
yeah, stiff. Yeah, I like.
Have you ever noticed that they always get it wrong in the first movie to where they have to like fiddle with it for the second
Yeah.
movie? It was like
Yeah.
that in the Christian Bale ones too. Like
Yeah.
this in the second Christian Bale movie, his helmet was based more on like a motorcycle helmet.
Yeah.
So he could actually move his neck. It's like,
Right,
didn't you guys learn this from before?
I do like the Christian Bale movies the best. But the problem I have with his is that he's got like a weird Batman voice.
Yeah.
He makes his
Yeah.
lips go weird. Makes his lips go weird. So everybody, I like the size of Ben Affleck and his costume. I like, except it gets kind of weird in the Flash movie and other ones. But he's big. I like the Batman who's really big. So everybody has something I like about them.
That's how I am. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have a favorite. I love Adam West. It's funny. He's hilarious. I didn't realize it was supposed to be a comedy until I grew up. It was actually nominated for an Emmy as Best Comedy Series the year it came out. And so, yeah, I had a lot of fun. Yeah, there's something like Batman can be played by anybody, and they'll bring a different.
Yes.
They'll bring something that you like about it. Like I liked George Clooney's Bruce Wayne. I liked Val Kilmer as well.
I like George Clooney's nipples on the suit.
Yeah. They
More
made molds of
Batman
actual-
suits need nipples.
Yeah. I don't know if
Can you-
there's been a perfect Batman yet, except the animated ones.
That last clip from Troy, that sounds like something good to put in the post credits when I always kind of grab some memorable quotes.
Bat nipples, yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on bat nipples?
And to finish off the round, I agree with Scoot and D. Brad, kind of talking about, picking favorite things from other ones. Overall, Michael Keaton's my favorite. Once again, just with that age range of just, that was the live action Batman. But Batman Returns is my favorite Batman anything. So I just love that, it has 1 foot in the 89 movie with the seriousness, but then it has 1 foot ahead into what would become wacky and stuff with the ones that came after it. So I love that balance where it just had a little bit of both in there. So, but Michael Keaton would be mine. Not to, once again, we left Kevin Conroy out of that picking just because, for one who got to play Batman the most and voice him throughout the series and, some standalone movies and got to play him in live action for the CW crossover crisis event, video games. I think, I did that. One cool story I have about Kevin Conroy, because I got to meet him at a show, which future Anthony will throw that image, and Troy's going to like it because it was cold in that convention center. So if you look at my shirt, let's just all ooh and ah, even though we can't see the photo until post.
Ooh.
Ooh.
And
Am I guessing that we're seeing nipples here?
Yeah, so I had a white shirt on and
Good God.
so let's
Are
just
you gonna throw like a censorship square on it, bud?
Bat nipples.
we'll see. I'm going to talk to
Blur it out, please.
Mr. YouTube and see if we can get by without that. Um, but the morning of that convention, I was sitting in the lobby of the Hyatt reading comic books, and I always get up about 5 hours early before the people I'm rooming with are up. So I'm up there and I'm watching everybody like going in and out of the gym. And I kid you not, but coming out of the gym was none other Kevin Conroy, Batman, and going into the gym, literally passing each other, was Lou Ferrigno, the Incredible Hulk. Seeing,
Yeah.
seeing the
Nice.
Hulk and Batman just kind of exchange, paths there as they took turns at the gym. I'm just like, this is awesome.
If I remember correctly, Darwin Cook like storyboarded the intro.
That was Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond, yeah.
Batman Beyond. Never mind then. Um,
I'll cut that out.
yeah, make me look smart.
I'll do an edit where you say that every like 10 minutes, and then
Yeah,
it's just being like,
Darwin Cook, fellas.
all right,
That's
let's
awesome.
jump over to the status of the drawings. Let's check back in with Scoot. You have several characters added to since we started the show, so let's see what you're doing there.
Yeah, so I've got Batman down here in the lower right, and then Robin's got his back, and you got Clayface jumping up off of Batman's left, and Joker and Robin are facing off. Joker holding the laughing fish from another good episode that they adapted from the comics, and then Harley is kind of behind Joker, and we'll see what other villains I can fit in here.
Yeah, I think that's a common thing for Scoot is that like you have your canvas and you're like, all right, how many characters can I fit
Yeah.
in?
Let's see what we can do.
And that's going to be a great segue into I'm going to zoom out from my camera screen here. So Scoot, we're going to start kind of switching gears and jump into your career a little bit, and I'll kick it off here with this piece of work that I
Oh,
requested. Catching up with Franco. Franco,
yeah.
past guest here on Cartoonist by Night, but over on YouTube, he has his Catching Up with Franco. Currently has a Kickstarter out there, so by the time this episode releases, there's a very good chance that that's been funded because we had some good, successful days there. But post Anthony will throw up the information there for people to check out Franco's Kickstarter. But on the show, you're taking requests, and you guys were talking about it, I would assume, because of the drawing, the Doctor Strange sequel, the Multiverse of Madness.
Yep.
And just said, oh, what about your character, Sammy the Samurai Squirrel, as the Sorceress Supreme? And we got that. But then as you look at the rest of the drawing, whatever you had room for, you just started throwing everything else into it. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, I like it.
Good look at just this original art here that you were then kind enough to hand over to me at a C2E2, and that was awesome.
Yeah, there's Tony the Tiger's arm down there in the lower.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, there's the eyeball creature. There's a Sasquatch hand shooting a laser beam out of it. There's a ninja with a knife. There's a
Anteater.
Yeah, and there's an anteater character.
Yeah, this is beautiful.
That's so weird. I love it.
So that's a great launching point into talking about some of the work that you have done in comics. So if people aren't familiar with Scoot McMahon, we're going to kind of take a little trip down some of these titles throughout this episode because we have Sammy. So here's Sammy the Samurai Squirrel. Welcome to Woodbriar by Scoot McMahon. Do you want to kind of give us a quick pitch on what this is and how the book came about?
Nah, not really.
Okay, good. Let's go
No.
deep breath. Oh wait.
Yeah, that book. So Sammy was a character I had been doodling. So we got to rewind back to like 2007. I had started my current job and I was working with some good cartoonists, Merrill Rainey and Corey Barba, and we were developing characters, and they were like, let's turn them into comic books and stuff. So I started working on Sammy, and then other things get in the way, other things come up, so I kind of tabled it. Well, then when I met Art and Franco, they were kickstarting the All Yeah comics back in 2013, 2012, I don't know, around that time sometime. And Art was like, do you have any characters you want to include like in the stories? And I'm like, oh, I do. I have a character named Sammy, and she already kind of looks like this style. So I just modified the style a little bit to fit in the All Yeah universe. And yeah, I just went back to what I had worked on and tweaked the story a little bit and redrew it all digitally. And yeah, that's how Sammy came to be. Sammy was actually inspired. I was playing the video game back then for Nintendo Wii, Super Mario Galaxy.
Oh yeah.
And it's because there's a lot of pirates in the Sammy story. And in the Super Mario Galaxy, you know, there's floating pirate ships from Bowser and all that stuff, and just the wackiness of those games. I wanted to make a comic that kind of felt like, you know, a video game with boss fights and things like that. So if you go back through and read it, it kind of plays hopefully almost like a video game a little bit.
Oh, awesome.
And when it comes to Sammy, is there any anything in the future that we can expect from Sammy, or is it kind of just you just have a lot of other stuff going on?
Yeah, I have a lot of other stuff. I do have ideas for a sequel, but I'm almost thinking, so Sammy is with Action Lab right now,
Yeah.
and you know, they've been fine and stuff, but it doesn't get a lot of traction. So when that maybe one in like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, when that publishing contract's up, I might do another one. But um I maybe I do something in that vein with some of the side characters or something, I was thinking. But yeah, it's just I've been busy with other gigs. I would like to revisit the characters. People ask me about it a lot, but um yeah, I still have some of the books, so I still do sell it because I asked for more copies of the book and they had them, so I'm like, yeah, I'm still proud of it.
Plus, you
Still
got
like
that sweet
drawing
banner,
the characters, so
and you got that sweet banner behind you too.
yeah, there you go. But that's the story of Sammy. She first appeared in All Yeah Comics #7. She came to Skokie and helped Action Cat and Adventure Bug stop some ninja monkeys that were hired by Evil Cat to steal All Yeah Comics and open up their Evil Cat's own evil Aw No Comics shop across the street. And that was a story I wrote and drew, because at that point Art was just like, yeah, do whatever you want. I'm like, can I write a story and draw? He's like, yeah, go ahead. I'm like, can it be like 12 pages? Yeah, man. Okay. So I just did whatever I wanted, and Art and Franco would put it in the book.
Love that.
That's trust for you. It's cool.
Yeah.
And Art has talked about it before. He watches the show, and he's very entertained by the fact that the guests that come on the show are kind of talking about All Yeah Comics and kind of how our guests got into All Yeah, and so is there anything you kind of want to talk about that relationship? Just kind of meeting the All Yeah guys and just kind of how all of that stuff kicked off.
Yeah, I have a kind of an interesting story because I was going to Chicago Comic Con, which eventually became Wizard World Comic Con in Rosemont, Illinois, before C2E2 was ever a thing. So this would have been like mid 2000s and like 2006, 2007, right when Tiny Titans was taking off. And I was working with this guy, I mentioned his name before, Corey Barba, who grew up in Chicago, and he had worked with Art at some job, like an animation studio or something. And Corey would always tell me, he's like, your art reminds me of Art Baltazar's. I'm like, who's Art Baltazar? Why do you keep talking about him? He's like, he's a real good man, sir. Real good. And Corey would do like impressions of how Artie talked and tell us, like, always in good, because you can't really, like, Artie's like 1 in a million. So his impressions are spot on. And he always spoke really highly of Art's cartooning and how passionate Art was. So then I went to a Wizard World, and I tabled with my first time I ever tabled at a convention was 2011, even though I had been going with my portfolio, to the shows. And I tabled in 2011 with my friend Jay Christopher Schmidt, who's a good artist as well. And then we were tabling, and I said, oh, I'm going to go over and give a mini comic to Art and Franco, because I did like a mini comic of the Super Kings, which I eventually made into an all ages book. But I did like a more adult version of it first. There it is. There they are. That's the all ages version. And I took it to Art, and I had to wait in line because they had these huge lines because Tiny Titans was like in its prime. Like all these kids were lined up. So I had to wait in line with all these kids just to give them my mini comic and tell them, I was fans of him and Franco. And when I got up there, Art was so busy. He's just signing with his head down. And I think I bought a book because I waited in line for so long, Tiny Titans book. And I gave him my mini comic and he looked at it and I said, yeah, I'm friends with Corey Barba. And he looked at me really fast. He's like, he's a good man, sir. And I go, oh yeah, you sound just like Corey's impression. He's like, oh yeah, Corey, real good guy. I'm like, okay, cool, man. And then Art took it. He was like, I'm going to read this. And I'm thinking like, you probably won't, but okay, thanks. And then never heard from him. And then my email and stuff was on the mini comic. And I was like, well, he's an artist. He's not like a publisher. Well, then the next year, 2012, at Wizard World again, I went up to Art and Franco wasn't there at that show that year. It was just Artie. And it was before the show started. And I was like, hey man, I don't know if you remember me, but I gave you a comic last year called The Super Kings. He's like, yeah, Scoot McMahon. I loved it. My whole family loved that book. And I'm like, oh, it was just a mini. Yeah, man. He goes, you want to draw comics for me? And I was like, yeah, sure. And he's like, yeah, we're starting our own comic company. And I was like, yeah, let me know. He goes, yeah, I'll reach out to you. And again, I thought probably won't, but because you do this a lot of these conventions, you meet creators and publishers and they always tell you they like your stuff and you never hear from them. Well, then like by the time I got home that weekend, Art had already emailed me and he told me about Oh Yeah Comics and to send him stuff. He sent me like the characters, but he didn't tell me anything about them. Like he's just like, these are my guys, draw stories with them and stuff. Or writers will send you a script and you could write, or if you write, you can just write a story. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I'm like, what's this character's personality? What are all these things? And Art's like, oh yeah, man, just do whatever you want, sir. So I just like made these stories up. And then later on he tweaked them a little because like he finally started to add continuity. But that's my story of how I got involved with like meeting Art and Franco, is because my friend Corey Barba knew Art and that was enough to grab Art's attention and give him that mini comic. So he actually paid attention to it and read it. And this is before like people were really on social media a lot, 2013. It was around, but you weren't really, Artie wasn't even on it that much back then. So just going to these shows and networking like that, that's how I got to know those guys. And then, yeah, I just started sending him a bunch of stuff. And I was always worried that I was sending him too much. And Art said, no, keep sending it. We'll use it. So that's what happened. And then I just started getting on. I found out they were on Skype like every night, him and Franco and sometimes Johnny. So I would be on there working and I would just see that they were on the little green dot. So I'd ping them. I'm like, hey guys, I'm working on this Oh Yeah comic. I have a couple of questions. And they would just pull me on to in their private conversations. These weren't even the podcasts yet. And their private conversations sounded just like the podcast, which was funny because I was like, man, these guys sound just like they talk on the pod. And yeah, that's the long origin of how I met the Oh Yeah Comics guys.
If I remember correctly, Darwin Cook like storyboarded the intro.
That was Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond,
yeah. Batman Beyond. Never mind then.
I'll cut that out.
Yeah, make me look smart.
I'll do an edit where you say that every like 10 minutes and then
Yeah.
it's just being
Darwin
like,
Cook, fellas.
It's a great story. I love that. That's great.
Yeah, and speaking of Corey, he has that comic that he does, Junk Puff. Does that sound right?
Yep,
Yeah.
that's it.
Dude, his art is so good.
Yeah. Corey was awesome. He's really funny too. And he worked with Artie at this animation studio and he would always talk about all these characters, Artie being one of them. So then when I did finally start talking to Art and becoming better friends with him, I would mention these characters. He's like, how do you know that guy, sir? I'm like, Corey Barba told me all about him. And he'd laugh. He's like, yeah, that's exactly right. We used to do that. We worked there. And it was just funny. It was another layer to, kind of gain their trust or whatever, was that I kind of had this inside buddy, Corey. Now Corey lives in California. He's worked on all different things from Netflix to, I don't know, DreamWorks stuff. So he's pretty successful.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
like Rodgers said, he's doing his own comic strip series, Junk Puff.
Yeah, he sent me a friend request forever ago, and it's like he'll just randomly like drop off the planet for a couple of months. So I
Yeah.
assume that means that he's busy doing real work.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, his stuff's really good. Your story is similar kind of to Fife's story. Fife called me one day when I was at work and he was like, "Are you sitting down?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Okay, I'm going to tell you anyways." So I put an order in on Art Baltazar's website, and just in the notes section of the order, I said, "Can we draw comics?" And he got his order fulfilled, and handwritten on his invoice was like, "Send me a one pager."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just so
what.
cool.
Isn't that what Alejandro said for him? He had to do a one pager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alejandro's known art the longest. Alejandro and even Dave Scheid, who I work with often on my other books, they've known Artie because they live in the Chicago area. So they met Art like through the comic shops and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, it's awesome.
We have another question from a listener here. This is from somebody, they didn't give the first name, but a Mr. Farr. They want to know, Scoot, on your favorite, what's your go-to order for Tony Pacos?
Not
Just
to
say
my
not
interest.
to not
How
to
about
my
that?
interest. Yes.
Yeah. Now my go-to order is actually not the hot dogs or the Hungarian hot dogs. It's the chicken paprikash. That's what you got to get at Tony Pacos.
Oh, look at
Oh
this.
my
Side.
goodness.
There he is. Oh man, I should have. brought. I have a MASH figure of
Oh, you did?
Klinger
Oh, yeah?
dressed in like a pink blouse, and that
Oh,
Skoke gave to me. He bought it at a convention one time.
Yeah.
But it's in the basement. I can't. I should have had it ready.
Yeah, I was shocked to see when I put the questions up in Instagram stories for the Cartoonist by Night account, and then Jamie Farr jumped in there and had a question.
Yeah.
Hey,
Especially since he's not interested in Oh Yeah comics, but apparently he's interested in Cartoonist by Night. So congrats.
here we go.
Even though he did do that famous Oh Yeah comics really long cameo, and then someone must have told him don't ever do that again.
All right, we're gonna check in with some drawings. Let's jump over to D. Brad. What have you gotten done here?
I'm working on Harley Quinn, and this was my reference, but I didn't do the pose. Just I did a different pose, but I'm cleaning it up. I'm cleaning it up right now. But I did do. I don't know what's a better camera to show it on, but the first one I did was Two-Face.
There we go. Yeah, that looks good. Oh, nice.
I love it.
I like it.
Oh yeah.
And
a good
then I did Batgirl.
There she is. That's good.
Oh my. I like that.
And then Harley Quinn.
Batgirl,
Quinn's
not
coming.
Catwoman.
Love it.
Oh, cool. Troy, check in with your what you working on there.
Oh, what am I working on, Scoot? What's it called?
Oh, Hardak Batman.
That's the one.
That's what it was.
Hard ass Batman. Did I hear that right?
That's right. There he is. That looks great.
Hard butt Batman.
Yeah.
That's right.
Nice.
Gonna add some grays in there,
Lovely.
but it's pretty much
Man.
done.
Not
Yeah.
to turn into shop talk too bad, but Troy, isn't that brush pen that you're using the best brush pen you've ever used?
Is this the one that you told me about?
Yeah.
The
Pentel.
No, this does not. This is a Cambio.
Oh, okay. It's the same idea.
Yeah, same basic idea, but the one that you told me about, like you can squeeze
Yeah.
and get a heavier flow out of. This is just gray, and trying to think of his name. He does like anime stuff or anime style, Western anime, did Common America. His last name is Lim. Shoot. Well, I tabled next to him at a convention and he was using these. They're kind of cool. They it's a light gray, but it dries really fast. So you can go through and you can do like additional layers of the same color gray and
Nice.
like darken it up.
That's
Um,
awesome.
Jeremy Lin?
I think
No.
Jeremy Lin is a basketball player.
Yeah.
He is. He's that guy that did great with New York for a little bit. Hang on.
The New York Knicks, I believe he played for.
Oh,
Yeah, he scored 35 points against Kobe.
Yeah.
Tim Lin.
How many points did Kobe have though?
I don't know. I think the Knicks won that game because Kobe underestimated him, and he had a good post game where he's like, "No, he's the real deal," and then he wasn't because he was out of the NBA like
I was
3
like,
years
where
later.
is he now? That's nuts. But yeah, I have a Pentel brush that's similar to that you can squeeze to get a heavier flow, and then I have a Kuretake version that I have not cracked open yet. But man, I love them. Love them.
Red Hood.
I have the one that you told me about somewhere over here, but I'm I'm just not so good at it. So I was using the Tombow brush pen, but yeah, this is the one that you told me about.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I like them because the brush part is like super long. So you can get real fine lines and then you can smash them up, and I usually use them mostly to fill. But yeah, anyways, how's everybody doing today?
Good.
Cartoonist.
Today's episode is brought to you by Pentel.
Right. I wish. Pentel, give me free stuff.
Now, Rodgers, it seems like you put a hood over Mr. Freeze. What's going on over there?
This is a drawing of Red Hood that I'm also not happy with.
Oh.
But, you know, we all have those days that you sit down and you go to draw and you're just like, today's just not the day.
Well,
Yep, that happens.
here's
But
yep, go
only
ahead.
with stuff that I don't have to draw. That's the part. If I was working on Happy, I'd be like flying through pages, but
Fair enough. I have a Clayface sketch card in post. I'm going to add a lot of extra shading and do some more details, but some of that detail stuff I can't really concentrate during a showtime. But this is where I'm at with a Clayface card here.
Nice.
Looks
love
great.
it.
Nice.
I bet if you did a whole series of Batman villains like that, someone would buy them all.
Yeah, I think that might have to happen because I recently did that with Adam's Family. So Kirby's wife, Kevin Kleinhans, his wife Shelley, had asked for some Adam's Family, and I went ahead, and it was the most I've drawn in a single day, where I did 8 Adam's Family cards, and mostly did them in sort of a caricature, my version of a style, and but that was the most I've ever like kind of done in one day. So I think after the show here, I could probably make that happen.
if I remember correctly, Darwin Cook like storyboarded the intro.
Oh, that was Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond, yeah.
Batman Beyond. Never mind then.
I'll cut that out.
Yeah, make me look smart.
I'll do an edit where you say that every like 10 minutes, and then
Yeah.
it's just being
Darwin Cook, fellas.
like, check in with Scoot again here on other characters you're adding.
Yeah, let's see. Got Scarecrow, Poison Ivy, and Mr. Freeze back there.
Ooh-wee.
And then I'm probably gonna add Two-Face and Bane, maybe. I always like that Bane episode, that one from the first series. Like there's two, the one for the original animated series where Rupert Thorne hires Bane.
Oh yeah.
I like that one. Bane looked weird in the new adventures of Batman and Robin. He had like spikes and stuff. They like overdid his costume. I thought his simpler luchador costume always looked better.
Yeah, and some of the designs were really weird.
Yeah, like Scarecrow. He was really scary.
Yeah, he got really scary. Yeah, and the Joker with the black eyes, I don't really.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
That, yeah.
I liked that one. You know, I just remembered when I first met my wife. So my wife is an immigrant from Venezuela, and when I first met her, I wanted to. Her English wasn't as good as it is now, and I went to take like conversational Spanish courses
Oh yeah.
so that I could kind of get to talk to her a little bit better. And one of the assignments was to watch a show in Spanish with English subtitles.
Oh.
And then the more you watched it, ideally you would start to pick stuff up. And Batman the Animated Series was what I ended up getting. A couple
Oh, cool.
DVDs that
Yeah.
had Spanish
And
subtitles.
did it work? Did it help you?
I mean, I married her, so
You learned how to say, "Will you marry me?"
I guess. Well, no, honestly, her English was a lot better than my ability to understand her accent, I think,
Right.
at the time.
Cool. All right. Our next question from a fan here is leads perfectly into my next round of Scoot promotion. So Kevin Wolf, also known as Happy Wolf Art One, our friend over there on his Instagram account, constant commenter of the show and always giving us great comments after watching. And he,
He's a good dude.
yes, he is. He asked about our next title, which I'm bringing up on my screen.
Oh yeah.
So Kevin writes, I really enjoyed the wrapped up series Scoot worked on. Could he talk about the origin, history, and genesis of that project?
Yeah, that's a cool one. So that was originally Dave Scheid's idea, the creator and the writer of that story. He had a story that he had worked on here and there with some other artists called Minimum Wage Mummy. And it was a little bit more it wasn't as like kid friendly. It wasn't bad. It was just like not as kid friendly. So he had that story, but then he knew that it could be a successful like kids comic just because of how silly it was with these mummies living in the suburbs, and his best friend was this wizard who was kind of like a weirdo, like hanging out with this little kid, and the mummy just wants Milo, the main character, just wants to eat pizza and play video games and chill all day. So Dave presented me this, and I was like, I've always been a huge fan of like Halloween and like spooky stuff, but not necessarily like the super scary stuff, just like the silliness of Halloween.
Yeah.
So Wrapped Up was a perfect way to kind of get that out on paper. And Dave also is like big into spooky stuff as well. So we just kind of clicked right away. We had worked together previously. He wrote a Oh Yeah comic story and I drew it in Oh Yeah Comics. And I had met Dave actually in person at one of the Oh Yeah Comics Skokie parties. They used to do these parties all the time after like C2E2 or for like a book launch. And I met Dave there since he lives in Chicago. And we pitched it to Lion Forge at the time, publisher, and they loved it right away. And it was like, wow, this is easy. Like this will happen all the time, which everyone knows it doesn't. We just kind of got lucky with that one.
Mhm.
And they had very little changes or anything. They're just like, you guys do your thing on this book, and like we love it. We want to do something exactly like this. So it was just like we just kind of had the right idea at the right time, and they had us sign a contract for 10 issues and 2 trades. So those 10 issues would become 2 trades. So they were Wrapped Up was a monthly series that came out back in 2017 every month for 10 months. And then they collected the trades in 2018 and 2019. And now just this past year, 2023, the complete collection came out. So Wrapped Up, I don't have it here at my hand in my hands, but there's a Wrapped Up complete collection that's available now with all the Wrapped Up stories and mini stories and all that stuff. So
I would show it off, but it's in my daughter's room, so.
yeah, mine's like back here somewhere. I don't want to dig around for it, but
Is that the one?
That was actually my introduction to Scoot. I knew
Oh, there.
about Scoot from that comic book before I knew about Art and Franco.
oh, cool. How'd you come across Wrapped Up?
At a comic book shop.
Oh, cool.
So I always go to the kids section because I desperately want my children to be into it, and they're
Yeah.
not. But I would tend to buy stuff that was in that genre anyway. Just and that was one that my son liked. My daughter didn't care for anything at the time. But yeah, that was it.
That's awesome. Thanks for
Yeah.
picking it up.
I
Um,
actually I I texted you through Instagram after getting it at one point. Asked you for some advice on how to develop a style similar to that. Like if your natural style doesn't fit with your preferences, and
Yeah, I remember that now.
you said tracing paper.
Yeah. Yep. Did you do it?
Change. I'll no.
Yeah. I trained myself using tracing paper before, like
Yeah.
when I had to match a style or do different
Yeah.
things. That's what I would use.
I didn't do I never bought tracing paper, but I still tried to mimic. It's just too it felt too much like work
Yeah.
to try and get it the way that my to where my fandom lies versus what just kind of naturally doodles out.
Yeah.
Is it started to feel like work, and I'm not I'm not to that point where I want it to feel like work.
well, Kev,
It sounded
Kevin
really
Wolf,
rude.
No,
Sorry.
that's good. And that's how it like you shouldn't I always tell little kids that too. It's like don't if it's not fun, don't do it. Like you can do that stuff later. Like if you take like an art class and they want you to draw like a realistic looking truck, that's when you can do it because it's for a class, but just draw for fun. Do what stuff that you want to do. Art drawing should be fun. So
Heck
uh,
yeah.
Kevin Wolf continues to write. He's wondering if there's any future plans with that series, or is that just much like the last one, where it's just you got a lot of stuff going on, or
yeah, no, wrapped up. I think I don't know. There might be. I don't know. We've no plans right now for it, but there's definitely more stories Dave and I could do. But at the same time, it's like we did tell a lot of stories with those characters. I mean, we did like 10, full issues, like 24-page issues and a lot of wacky stuff. So we want to try to direct our, creativity into different um different worlds. I've always kind of been like that. I don't know why. It's like I create one thing, I involve myself in it, but I don't like marry myself to it. I want to do like now I want to explore like pro wrestling or now I want to explore superheroes. Like I've always had all these different interests as a kid, so I try to explore all those. That kind of scratched my Halloween itch there for a while. And then later, I'm sure Anthony will bring it up, but I did another book that was like directly tied to Halloween, The Adventures of Cthulhu Jr. But there's always like something else, like I feel like, and Dave's the same way. It's like, what else can we do with these stories? Like we could keep doing wrapped up, or we could try to do something, even better or even bigger. So we'll see what happens. But I wouldn't mind doing more wrapped up if the opportunity presented itself. But right now we're just we're gonna stick with the collected edition of the original run there, and we'll see what happens in the future.
If I remember correctly, Darwin Cook like storyboarded the intro.
That was Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond, yeah.
Batman Beyond. Never mind then. Um,
I'll cut that out.
yeah,
Cool. He had also was asking about wanting to see some of your artwork, which is a great segue into showing off some commission work that I have of yours. First one I want to show off because last year, the year before, I was doing a lot of Swamp Thing and Man Thing, and I know I got one from Troy as well, where I basically just I had Ryan Brown, I commissioned him. Basically, any artist just being like, "Yep, just do whatever," and knowing that Scoot's a big wrestling fan as well. This is what you came up with here. So here's an awesome Swamp Thing and Man Thing in the ring. So so much stuff going on. I just love every little detail from the headbands. Matt Rodgers is going to like what's flying off of Man Thing's head here.
yeah.
Of Bret Hart glasses.
Yep.
Bret Hart's the best.
Bret Hart
yeah.
inspired because this is from the SWL league. So yeah, Swamp Wrestling League. So according to this,
That's really awesome.
I'm a new fan of wrestling because they added all the WWE Network stuff to Peacock.
Yeah.
So I've been working my way through it, but I was never into it when I was a kid. And I really love the late 80s, early 90s, like campy era.
Mm-hmm.
I like once it gets to where everybody's just wearing black leather, I'm just kind of like, you lost all the fun. I'm sure there's good things to it, but I'm like working my way through the Royal Rumbles, and then when I got to one that Stone Cold was in, I was just like, okay, time to switch over to Monday Night Raw. So it's been a blast. But I'm a huge Bret Hart fan, and I don't know if you know, but if you go to his website, you can order those pink sunglasses, and you can get them autographed and stuff.
Ooh.
That's cool. Bret Hart is also a cartoonist. Did you know that?
Yeah, I sent him a DM on Twitter to see if I could get him to do a variant cover for us, but he never responded.
I didn't know that about him.
That'd be awesome.
Oh, speaking of variant covers, not online, but at the shows and everything of the first Kid Slapshot comic, Scoots was the first one to sell out.
Oh, that's awesome.
Kid Slapshot #1, yeah, at shows and stuff.
Oh, cool.
Which, it hurt my feelings just a little bit. But,
Well, I can make you
I thought
feel
that was cool.
quick.
Yeah, thanks for letting me know. That is cool. I'll do another one.
Well,
Heck
on the
yeah.
topic of that, I don't have that one, but future Anthony can put that image up there so people will see that. But the one that I do have on hand here is the Happy Astronaut #3 variant cover. Speaking
yeah,
of
that one.
wrestling,
There
So,
he
yeah.
is.
Dude,
That
so
was
good.
fun to do. He's a fun character to draw with that swoopy hair.
Isn't he? He's cool. I like him.
Who came up with the design, you or Fife?
Me. Yeah, I found the first drawing I ever did, and it was called The Happy Astronaut. Or no, it was The Smiling Astronaut. That was the original name of it, and he looked totally different. And it was dated 2016.
Wow.
And I drew a picture of him and I sent it to Matt, and I was like, write a story for this guy. And he was like, okay. And then it sat, and because me and him have like had plans to do stuff a whole bunch that just like kind of fizzle out. And then the pandemic happened, and suddenly we all had like extra time, and that's when we really started to like take it seriously and actually do something. So he evolved into the character that he is now. And so yeah, art wise, it was all my design, and then all the content is written and imagined up by Fife. We have like a little preliminary meeting. He'll just be like, so what do you feel like drawing?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just be like, I don't know. Let's have him do something with wrestling. Okay. And then we just worked it in.
Yeah, those are the best artist writer collaboration conversations, and that's how Wrapped Up was. Dave would be like, what do you want to draw in the next issue? I'm like, let's do a martial arts issue where his dad's like a martial artist, and Dave's like, oh yeah, that'll be cool. Okay. And then he writes it, and then yeah, it's like just a true collaboration where we're just going back and forth. And I don't know if you feel like it sometimes, but sometimes as the artist, you only get credited as the artist, but you're actually writing parts of the story too,
Right. Yeah, the plotter.
Yeah, we have a like he'll give me my script, and he has it like page by page, panel by panel. And
Yeah.
I'll read it and I'll look at it and I'll be like, okay, this would be better if these two panels were combined into one.
Yep.
And then this would be better if we drag this one panel out as like a horizontal row of 3.
Yeah.
And it used to be like I would run everything by him and he would approve it or deny it. And then it just got to the point where we work so well together that I just do it. Like he'll forget all about the book, and then I'll send him a PDF of the final thing for him to like proofread. And that's the first time that he's seen any of that in forever. So he doesn't even realize that I've changed stuff. So
yeah, Franco and I are working on something right now, and he sent me like a 20-page, like he doesn't write scripts, he just does like roughs because he's an artist too, obviously. And he's like, what do you think? And I'm like, yeah, this is good, but can it be like 24 pages instead of 20? Because there's a lot of scenes I would want to expand, or like some of these panels I want to expand and I don't want to cram like 8 panels on this one page. He's like, yeah, if you want to do more work. And I'm like, yeah, I do. And he's like, okay.
If it betters the end product, then
Yeah.
it is always worth it.
Well,
Speaking of Franco, I feel like I just channeled Franco with this initial little doodle here.
Yeah,
His
That
eyes
was
look
you.
like a Franco Batman. Yeah.
it does. Yeah.
I'm gonna stop right here. I'm done.
Well, speaking of Franco and DC Comics related stuff, we also have Dead Man Tells the Spooky Tales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of these spooky tales as Scoot McMahon. So can you kind of talk about getting your work for DC Comics?
Yeah, that was awesome. That's my first and only comic I did for DC, and it was really cool to get that like that pay stub that says DC Comics. That's one of the things I definitely saved to, you know, one of my goals. I actually wrote a letter to DC when I was a kid, like 12 years old or something, where I sent them artwork, and I'm like, yeah, I want to draw your characters, and they were like, oh, we would really like it if you had a college degree and you keep working and blah blah blah, but which was a lie because Rob Liefeld was working like when he was in high school for these companies, but it was cool to finally be able to do stuff with them, and I was able to, in that Dead Man Tells the Spooky Tales, Franco wrote a story where I was one of the only people in that whole book that got to use some Batman, because the whole book takes place in Gotham City and Dead Man is telling the story, but Sarah Richard, who's a fantastic artist, she drew all the Dead Man stuff. So I didn't get to draw Dead Man, but my story has a popular Batman villain in it, which was fun to draw, Man Bat, which you can see a picture of him there. And I kind of, one of the things I did for that book was I color dropped an old issue of Batman Adventures where Man Bat appeared. So all the colors in that my little strip are dropped from Batman the Animated Series, Batman Adventures comic.
Yeah, you can definitely tell now with just those reds and blacks and
even the guy's suit, Batman the original series, they wore like those colorful suits, with the blue and the yellow or the brown and yellow like Bruce Wayne wore.
Yeah, I've told Franco this, and I had a lot of people sign this here, but I think this book is perfect from beginning to end. Every single story, like it's inviting to anybody that you don't need to know anything about anything to enjoy this stuff. And a lot of times, if you get an anthology, big collection, there might be a thing or two that let's see who dropped out there.
Okay. My phone.
Okay, just want to make sure that. But this one is just like every single story was awesome, and I think this is a perfect book. Love it. And then to continue on with Franco collaborations, you have Spot On Adventure as well. Was this something that was done specifically for like a Patreon thing, or how what was the genesis of this?
Yeah, it started off, Franco wanted to do a Patreon, like a bi-monthly strip, or no, twice a month. And we talked about ideas, and we're like, let's kind of set it in the All Yeah style so he can cross over with the All Yeah characters, but it's definitely its own self-contained character and world. And it's about this tracker dog named Spot who tracks things. He's kind of like a bounty hunter, but he's not hunting people. He's just hunting stuff. So he goes on adventures looking for stuff. And there's this bigger mystery unfolding while he is out, becoming friends with his robot companion named Golly G. So a lot of crazy, weird stuff happens. There's a whole bunch of monsters and aliens in that book, and there's a space ninja, and there's robots, and a lot of cool space, like chase scenes and spaceships, kind of like Star Wars or Guardians of the Galaxy style, but drawn in that universe look and feel.
I'm a fan of great titles, and Spot On Adventure is one of those. Love it.
Oh, thanks.
So do you do the coloring for that, or did someone else color it?
Yeah, I colored that one. Yeah. So someone else, that's a good question, D Brad, because Wrapped Up was colored by Sean Dove. Right. I colored Sammy, and I colored Spot On Adventure, and I colored all of my All Yeah Comics appearances in All Yeah Comics. But lately I've been leaning towards hiring, other friends to color the books just because of time. 'Cause
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
kids and stuff now. But
Yep.
D.
How
Brad, I
about
wanted to ask
lettering?
you, is that a Bruce Timm Batman drawing back there?
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
great
not.
question.
It is a Bruce Tim drawing, but I just printed it off my computer and sent it to him, mailed it to him. I printed off a whole bunch of pictures that he drew that I liked, and I just mailed them to him, and with a return address, the stamp's already on it, and so he sent me a whole bunch that he signed. So it is actually his real signature.
Yeah, that's awesome. He's one of the cartoonists I really want to meet. Like Anthony was showing the Mad Love comic. He drew that whole comic, which was one of my favorite Batman the Animated Series books.
Yeah, he's
And
so
he's
good.
he's an underappreciated, I think, comic artist in his own right. He's really fantastic the way he tells stories.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I've got
His
some of the dark
comics are
books.
so good.
And then just because that D. Brad, there's another drawing back there too that is trying to focus in on that. Got some familiar designs that maybe Art Baltazar related.
Oh yes.
Yeah, maybe that one. That didn't sound rehearsed, did it? What's this?
Yeah, Batman's in there. So I asked for a Brave and the Bold. So I wanted Batman and Art's character Gilbert, and then he threw in additional character Aquaman
Oh, nice.
and
Turtles in
I
there?
forget the
Sherbet,
what's the
right?
orange Sherbert.
I think, yeah,
Sherbet.
Sherbet.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
Love that. And then continuing on with artwork to finish off Kevin Wolf's questioning, I had a couple other commissions. So when the Mario Brothers movie came out, I had, gave Scoot a number of cards. I'm like, yep, just do these characters here, whatever. So we have this awesome Mario here coming out of the pipe. I'm a big fan of the Lakitu there, and so that was a nice one, roasting some marshmallows. Daisy is my favorite of the Mario princesses, and just any kind of Nintendo princess, basically. Have a nice Toad chasing a star. And the other one here was very specific, were those ones, because I think you had asked about like wanting them in the video game or movie style, but there was one that I was very specific on. I don't like to give too many rules to artists when it comes to commissions, but I said, I want a Goomba. I love the Goombas. And this Goomba, I don't want it to be a normal Goomba that we all know, but instead, the original movie Goomba, which are ridiculous. And this was, I I don't know how many. You probably draw a couple of these a week, right? It's a big request. Probably a big request to get this Goomba.
Yeah, that was the first ever time I drew that thing.
Maybe the last ever, unless people.
Yeah, I hope so. No, he was fun to draw. He's funny.
That's it's a great pose, great peace sign. I love the smile, and yeah, I don't know. A third grade me knew that this was the exact opposite of the Goombas that we would know from the video games and the animated series. But I just love the design of them and that elevator scene when they're all dancing. And then Scoot has a big love of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so he had some turtle sketch cards at his table that all four of them were sitting there. So of course I had to scoop them up. So
yeah, I drew those in the lobby of the Marriott at C2E2.
Yeah, I remember just going up to the table. And I saw your post about them, and I told myself if they were still at the table, there was a good chance that I was going to be picking those up.
So do you color it with marker?
No, I think those are colored with colored pencil. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
When we
It's
were
got,
at Cincinnati, we tried to bait you on,
Yeah.
Anthony, by we were like, I bet Scoot, if you draw a Silver Surfer, I bet we know somebody that would probably instantly buy it.
I still have that Silver Surfer sketch card. He might be at C2E2.
I think I might be at C2E2 picking up another commission. Now that is a great segue because I want to make sure I get all the stuff before we have to wrap up here. But there,
Wrapped up.
Hey,
Yay.
let's just go ahead and say that I actually planned to say it that way. Okay, so speaking of commissions, I don't know if the physical is in your possession nearby, but I have a share screen of it coming up here. I had requested because I'm into having people draw the creature from the Black Lagoon. And this is what Scoot came up that I will be picking up
Oh
at
wow!
at the next C2E2.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, and I think you had asked if you just wanted any sort of like mashup theme, and then you had mentioned the turtles, and I'm just like, yep, let's go with the turtles. So there it is.
And I asked you your favorite turtle.
Yep, yep. And very coincidentally, the action figure they had just done the line of Leonardo as the creature, which I went off camera there not to grab that, but also to show some other creature art, just because this will be the first time I get to show it on the show. But Matt Rodgers, I also commissioned him for a creature from the Black Lagoon.
Awesome.
And
There's that swoopy hair.
Yeah.
so yeah, you got the creature there, but then I got the bonus happy astronaut there. So
He's not so
You have a good
happy.
collection now, Anthony. How many of those do you have now?
too many to count.
Yeah.
There was another one. Let's see here. I don't think it's accessible real quick on here, but because D Brad, I'll put it in post. But D Brad had put me in surprised. Actually, I wonder if it's on my desktop here. Yeah, because I was drawing the creature a lot, and then all of a sudden, D Brad just woke up to a message from him one morning, and all of a sudden he's just like, "Hey, I was inspired by your the creature artwork, and like I was posting commissions and prints and stuff." And he goes, "Oh, here, I have this for you too." And I'm just like, "Wait, what is this? What is this?" And this is me just buying time as I get
Yes.
here, which people are now seeing right now, I think. So
Oh, that's awesome.
That's really good.
yeah, I didn't even have to ask for that. That just happened. That's like my favorite thing in the world is to kind of be drawn into something, and that was just that was awesome. So
I like the coloring on there.
Yeah, kind of black and white with a little bit of color in it. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I love that I got some like Archie hash marks there on the side.
Yeah. Exactly.
Gorgeous.
Now, speaking of Scoot's art and Batman and everything, there's a lot of stuff on the share screen lineup. So I'm not going to be asking for like a story on any of these. So I'm just going to be kind of bringing them up, and we're going to show them to the audience and kind of
Woo-wee.
really a speed round, but just kind of basically a
Yeah.
little gallery here. So I went through and I realized that I could probably pull about 100 images that you've drawn of Batman just within the like last 3 years, probably. So I had to cut myself off eventually and just be like, okay, I have to just pick a certain amount here. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and start pulling up some images. Not everything is going to be Batman related here, but I just have them numbered this way. But
Yeah.
just to show some different styles and different characters, we've got the Robin Williams inspired genie here from Aladdin.
Perfect.
Amazing.
Then we're going to jump over to the next one here. We've got some Ninja Turtles here, and very much in theme of what we were just talking about.
A commission there for Jimmy Clark of Chicago.
Ooh.
He's watching.
Oh, Jimmy.
Hey, Jim.
Hello, Jimmy.
He's a good man.
And that's a great commission. Great commission.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
I've heard of that great commission.
We've got another Batman on deck here.
I caught that, D Brad. It didn't go unnoticed.
Oh, I missed it, but post Anthony's going to have a laugh, I bet.
Oh.
All right. So going down the line, and here we go. We have a nice Godzilla. We have a new Godzilla movie coming up, down the line here, Godzilla and Kong. But here, mixing in your Halloween there.
Yeah, that was a commission for a family in Cincinnati Expo, and they actually made Halloween cards with this image, and they sent me one.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
I love the pencil. I call it, in Canada, we call it pencil crayon, but you say colored pencils. But yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
I love it.
And then we're going to jump over to some more Batman. And I assume the full image is on the screen, right? I know in the past episodes, I don't know if it's just a placement on my desktop, so I've tried something different, but some of the Alejandro stuff that I showed got cut off, but then in post I put a digital copy of it. But yeah, here we go. We have a good example of some characters, just a whole kind of what we've seen drawn on the episode here, just kind of going through all of them.
Yeah, so that is a very square chin Batman.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well,
Very stylized.
if you like square chin Batman,
Look at that
Oh my
one.
goodness.
There you go.
That's a door stopper if I ever saw one.
Yeah. He's been punched many times in that chin.
but yeah, I was just going through Facebook and Instagram and just looking at like so many different styles, and you can obviously see why you picked Batman the Animated Series as a topic here, because you've definitely have an attachment to Batman here.
So I have a question regarding your quick drawings. Future
Mhm.
Anthony can erase this and post if Scoot wants him to, because it might ruin some magic. But like,
Then I won't show any more images in case I do. So go ahead.
right, when somebody comes up to you and is like, "Hey man, can you draw me Batman?" And you're like, "Yeah." Do you have like a go-to like Batman pose just so that you can crank it out faster?
No, I always try to do something different just so it's more fun. I don't know,
Right.
fun for me. Yeah. Like
Okay.
I'll ask him, I'll be like, yeah, what do you want him? You want him doing something? And they're like, whatever, man. And then it's up to me, just whatever I'm feeling. Sometimes I'll do like him punching or swinging on a rope or like perched just like stoically. So I always do something. I try to do something different just because for me, it's like just, I don't want it to be boring, you know?
Right.
But if someone does, I do have a go-to. If someone, so I do like head sketches for like $10 or something, or $20 or something. If someone gets one of those of Batman and they don't have a specific style, I'll do just like a Bruce Timm Batman head sketch really quick. But when it's like a full body like Batman commission scene, I'll try to do something different.
Gotcha. Because I always wondered, like, because you draw fast, and that's probably from being at a convention and having to like just crank stuff out like that. Because when we were at Cincinnati, I had somebody come up to us and they wanted a happy sketch cover, and they were like, "Just do something that has both the characters on it." And I was like, "Okay." And then it took me like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because I'm not used to doing it, so I was just like, "Ugh."
Yeah. Batman.
I'm so sorry.
Batman and Spider-Man, I feel like I've probably drawn them each in like so many poses and everything that maybe I have go-tos, but there's so many variations. Where the Flash, someone wants the Flash, it's just like, okay, what angle am I going to draw him running pretty much, because that's the thing he does. But with Batman and Spider-Man, you could do all kinds of things with them, you know.
I gotcha. Awesome.
I did want to take a pause here because I believe this was Kevin Kleinhan's Wrestling and Monsters, and it was a great mashup of
that was a fun one. Yep.
Awesome.
Love it. And this time we're going to jump over to another Batman, but he has somebody else that we don't normally see him with. We have a Captain America as well.
Yeah, this was a digital drawing where I drew like an under skeleton, and I just was like, okay, how many characters can I build with this under skeleton? So it's like the exact same under drawing, but like I changed, certain things about him. Yeah. I think I did like a Superman and a Wolverine in that style, but I don't know where they are.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, I got a couple more, maybe about 5 years. So I'm just cycling through. I saved a really great one for the end of the share screen, so we'll get there in just a couple here, but another awesome action scene here.
Yeah, 66. I remember I drew that at Gem City Comic Con in Dayton. I remember drawing that one there.
You gonna be there this year?
No, not this year, I don't think. I did a few cons and festivals already, so I think my next one is C2E2.
Right on. Right on.
Dayton Comic Con in Ohio. That's America's shirt pocket, everybody.
We're the heart of it all.
Love it.
Is that close to you, Rodgers?
My dad used to say the middle of nowhere.
We're gonna get a table there this year, I think, and Dayton's literally like a 7-minute drive for me.
Yeah, that's a good family show. So I bet your book will do well. I did notice some years it's slower on Sunday,
Mhm.
So if it is slow, but it's usually good. Like I like the people there and everything. So
Yeah, we're gonna do that one. We're skipping Cincinnati this year, I think, just because with the construction schedule on the Duke Energy Center, they had to like put it at a different time, and it's
yeah,
happening the exact same weekend as New York Comic Con.
yep, yeah. Art
So
won't be
like,
there. I'll be there. I'll be
like
there from
we,
the Oh Yeah group, but Art won't be there. Yeah,
man, we might go as like just like a single day pass just to like say hey to everybody, but I
yeah.
don't think we're gonna table.
Hmm.
We're mostly sticking to small shows. We're doing Muncie Comic Con in
Oh,
May.
cool. Yeah, say hi to Christy for me. She's cool.
Man, everybody knows her. It's so weird.
Yeah,
Like I posted a picture because my local shop is Bell Book and Comic in Dayton, and they stock Happy on their shelves.
yeah.
So I took a picture of it and I was like, "You can buy it here." And she commented saying, "That's a great store." I was just like,
Oh,
"How do you know?"
yeah.
Yeah, when I was in front of the oh yeah table last year at C2E2, I didn't know she was going to be there, and all of a sudden she just like stopped in, and I was just like, I had to introduce myself and shake her hand, and yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, she wrote an Oh Yeah story that I drew in one of the issues, issue 4 maybe, or no, maybe like issue 8.
I saw her briefly in Cincinnati. She was over talking to Gavin Smith, and
Yeah,
I
he's cool
talked to
too.
Gavin Smith and I was like, "Hey man, what do you charge for like a variant cover for an indie book?" And he told me, and we were just kind of like, "Okay, thanks." And I think I missed the opportunity completely because that dude's like doing a Turtles book now.
Yeah, he
He's
is.
like
Yeah.
he's part of the big relaunch, and I'm just like, well, he just went to impossible to get.
He's cool. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's super friendly. He was awesome.
Well,
Man, speaking of wrestling, have you read Mother Trucker?
No.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll get it real quick.
well, this will be a great segue into the last share screen image I wanted to say at the end. Rodgers going to come back to this. What happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, Batman. Yeah, leaping out of the Joker's mouth. So that's the one that I'm like, yep, this will be the one we'll end on.
Oh, that's awesome.
Think that was like someone wanted like if you drew like a Batman the Animated Series cover, and I'm like, well, what's the story? And they're like, I don't know, Joker's in it. So that's what I came up with. I'm like, something weird that kind of captures that campiness of the 60s covers that they did, those weird covers back then.
That's awesome. So this is Mother Trucker.
Oh, okay. Yep.
It's really awesome. It's credited as written and drawn by the animal Bob Anger, which I know that's a pen name. I can't remember the guy's real name. I follow him on Instagram. I can't show too many of the interiors because this is definitely an 18 plus comic. But I mean, it's just
Eight
like
wheelers, so Mother Trucker. It sounds about right.
it's just wrestling, man, beginning to end, just wrestling and big semi trucks. So cool. But it's really cool. Like he does really big pinups on the back cover. I got both of them, and I
Yeah.
guess one of them is sold out now, but they're real fun. So you should keep
Nice.
an eye out. Just
Cool.
lock them up in a safe when the family's home.
Yeah. No, I'll let them read it. I don't care.
Hey everybody, it's Future Anthony here. Now it's past Anthony when you watched it, but whatever. There's a segment that we cut out of the show with Scoot McMahon in real time. I actually didn't present it to the other guys who were there at the show, but looking at the time, I'm like, yeah, we won't have time for this. But I still wanted to include it, so I figured with Future Anthony would come in and introduce this segment, highlighting the fact that the Alfred from Batman the Animated Series had some of the greatest quotes across the whole series, and I wanted to kind of basically pull a couple of those from that show and present them here to you. So please check out some great moments with Alfred from Batman the Animated Series, and then we'll return for the last portion of Cartoonist by Night with Scoot McMahon. Enjoy. To finish up, I think this is a good question here from Kevin Wolf in his message. He goes, if Scoot can share his thoughts on backgrounds in comic art, because Kevin's noticed that some cartoonists really dislike backgrounds, and I think Scoot is on the side of details in the background. So can you kind of talk about your approach to backgrounds?
Yeah, I like backgrounds. I mean, it's harder when time consuming and stuff to add them in there, but I think it's worth it because that's where you can add, some foreshadowing for something that's going to come later or extra characters in there. Like Art's really good at throwing like extra characters in the backgrounds of his comics, then, they become characters later. So I've always kind of been interested in that. Plus, I try to think like cinematically when I'm drawing and writing these comics. So I want to put them in like a location where they feel like they're a part of the world,
Cool.
Heck yeah, man. That's the spot that I need the most improvement is backgrounds. So when you draw a comic, this will be a good process question. Do you draw your characters first and then like build the background around them, or do you draw like the background and then put your characters into it?
It just depends on the scene. So like if it's like a um a shot where they're like tiny in the panel or the page, I'll draw the background first to kind of get a feel for where they're going to be. But if it's like a conversation happening at like a table or something, I'll draw the characters in the table and then I'll just draw the background in later. But I think that's pretty much how it goes. If it's like a action scene in outer space or something, I think I'll lay out like the roughs of like the ship first, and then I'll kind of draw like the asteroids and stuff around them.
Okay, I
Yeah.
got it.
I don't know if there's like one definitive way to do it. It's just, the story kind of dictates how it goes. How do you usually do it? Characters first?
I usually do characters first, like space stuff. I do it similar to you. I'm pulling up a page here if my computer can handle it. There we go.
Yeah.
So like, I try to keep it okay, rule of thirds. We need
Yeah.
a planet here, and then trying to throw stuff in there. And I try to weight everything. Like originally this little panel here wasn't even in the script, but it like looked stupid without something there.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks, yep.
So I was like, we got to do something. But yeah, like I usually draw the characters first, then build the background around them. And I think that's where I run into problems. And then I get stuck like, whoa, well, I need perspective. And then I end up doing perspective to the point where it looks too perfectly like done.
Yeah.
So then I'm just like, I don't like how this looks either. I'm turning this off and I'm going to play video games and regret it later.
Yeah.
Normal stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, backgrounds, man. It's like, am I putting too much here? Not enough here? Ugh.
Yeah, it's a hard balance to find. With the cartoony stuff, I just feel like it's easier, more fun to do more background stuff. Like in the Spot on Adventure book, there's all kinds of weird like backgrounds in every panel because it's all cartoony, weird space stuff. So there's not really too much to reference. But like in a superhero book, you got to reference like realistic buildings and stuff, and it's more time consuming, I feel like.
Yeah, that's true. Hearing a weird sound, sorry.
I got a question for you. Is there, of all the projects that you've worked on, is there one that you hold more dear and near than, or more, how does the phrase go? Near and dear to your heart than others?
Yeah, probably the Sammy, the Samurai Squirrel book, because that was like my first. I mean, I had done graphic novels before, but that was like the first one where I had like confidence like in every part of the story, where I felt good about the flow and the characters. And when I reread it and go back to it now, I'm always like, yeah, it'd be fun to revisit some of these characters and stuff one day because it has like a good. I feel like I'm happy with how the little world I created in there interacts with the characters and stuff. So I feel like the Sammy the Samurai Squirrel book was like the one that I kind of am the most proud of for different reasons like that, because I feel like that was the one where everything kind of clicked for me, where I had a lot of confidence working on it. Yeah. How about you?
I haven't done that much, man.
Well, how about what issue of, like which,
Um,
or do you feel like they get better as you go?
um, issue the third issue of Kid Slapshot where he's fighting the giant
Oh,
moose
yeah.
versus Zomboni.
Yeah.
Um, that one, um, I think that one kind of came out better than all the others,
Hmm.
even though I didn't spend as much time on it. Um, they all have terrible flaws and spots in each of them that are terribly funny that I just
Yeah.
love. If I could, you know, get some scissors and some paste and kind of combine them all into one great comic, I'd love to be able to do that. But I think I've gotten better with each one. But to date, I've done probably less than Rodgers. So I've done the Spider or the Star Wars spoof, um, the Lucky comic with Tim Seeley, and then 4 Kid Slap Shots. So I've done 6 comics. Well, no, because I self-published Slapshot before. I did 4 comics before that. So
Hmm.
I've only done 10 comics.
That's a lot. That's a lot more. Like only that's a lot.
Hey
Well,
man, I've just done 5 issues and a couple of covers. You're good.
yeah, but you've done it in 1 year, dude. You've done
I
all
mean,
that in 1 year versus 3 years since I
right.
started.
And I did my Squish and Squash cover in like 3 hours.
Yeah, I I don't think that I don't think that they're watching this. I hope that they're not. But I was so jealous when I saw that you got that. I'm like, oh, you lucky. I wanted one of those so bad. I'm like, if you guys need anything, you please let me know. I'm here. I even did like a coloring page of Squish and Squash. I'm like, hey, I'm going to a convention. It's a Keen Spot booth. I'm gonna give out these coloring pages. Cool. And then crickets. I'm like, oh,
Is that the Mike Hardigan book?
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, that looks cool.
It's
yeah.
fun. Yeah.
It
it's a
does
fun
look
one.
it does look cool.
We have a question here, real quick, from Brian Lynch from Hot Wing of Justice.
Hey,
He's
Yeah.
wondering what Scoot's ideal collaboration would be and with who. So if you just had, anything available to you to work on a comic book, do you have an ideal collaboration?
yeah. I mean, obviously, we'll stay on topic here. I would want to work with Bruce Timm. I think it would be awesome to
Oh, yeah.
work off of some roughs that he did and ink them, or have work off a script he did, or even write something and have him draw it. So I think that could be a cool collaboration that
Looking,
that would be like a dream collab.
yeah, I'm looking forward to
What
his next Batman show.
Yeah, that's right. He's got one coming out. Yeah. Where's it going to be now? Where's its
Amazon.
home? Amazon? Okay.
Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah.
what character, Scoot, with Bruce Timm? Would it be Batman or would it be something else?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I would want to do something with that Batman universe. I don't know. Um, I feel like maybe something from like a villain's perspective, maybe something from like I don't know, Anthony, maybe like a Clayface story would be fun to do from like
Yeah.
a little spin, do it from like his perspective and have Batman in there, but he's not like the main part of the story. I think there'd be really fun component there. I think there could be a whole series of Batman books from the villain's perspective. So I think that could be cool.
I
But
pre-ordered.
not to make them, heroic, but just from like how Batman keeps showing up and foiling their plans, how frustrated they are about it.
I just filled out my pre-order for it. So
There you go.
Nice.
Brian just wanted to add to that for Batman the Animated Series. Great stories, fantastic animation, awesome voice actors. So
Yeah.
the fact that we went through Batman the Animated Series and didn't name drop Mark Hamill yet, but
Oh yeah.
Who's that?
He's some obscure actor from some science fiction thing from the 70s. I've heard of him.
he was in the Jay and Silent Bob movie.
Was he in Dune?
Yeah, I think so.
Um,
I think he's most famous for playing the villain in Jay and Silent Bob.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
that was it. A name that we won't say.
Oh, he was the trickster in the 90s
That's
Flash
what you're
TV
thinking
show.
of. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's the DC thing.
Yeah.
Corvette star of Corvette Summer.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And I don't know if this is an inside joke or a joke I don't get, but Eric Wolfgang, Wolfie Boy 21, he goes, "What are some Wendy's horror stories?" As in Wendy's the restaurant.
Yeah, I worked at Wendy's when I was in college. Yeah. I don't
Oh,
know. I mean, I have a different perspective because I worked at a Wendy's that was inside the student union at Bowling Green State University when I was there. So we would stay open late after the bars closed, and then all these
Oh.
drunk people would come in there and try to order food, and we'd have to like try to close the gate to the because it was like it wasn't a full Wendy's restaurant. It was in the student union, so it was like a walk up and get your order type of thing. And people would be reaching their arms under there like zombies, grabbing stuff, trying to get. And it would be closing that gate down. Yeah, so that was probably like a good horror story to tell because it was like you're fighting the drunk zombies at the end of the night.
I thought he was referencing your hamburger adventures in Cincinnati.
Oh yeah, Skyline Chili.
We mentioned your collaboration with Dave Scheid over the years with Oh Yeah Comics and Wrapped Up, but we also have to mention Agents of Slam. You had slightly mentioned it, but yeah, another great original graphic novel here. Anything you can share about that real quick?
Yeah, so Dave and I, that was a book we pitched after Wrapped Up to Lion Forge, and Lion Forge eventually I think Lion Forge, I don't Oni and Lion Forge merged together, so Wrapped Up or Slam is from Oni. And yeah, it was just Dave and I pitching around ideas like what would be funny, and we're like, what if like it's like a GI Joe type book, but instead of these soldiers, they're like these pro wrestlers, and their finishing moves are almost like their power, kind of like the X-Men a little bit too, where they have like they live under the White House in like a secret training facility, and they have a jet they all fly in. And yeah, it was just really silly, wacky stuff, and there's twists and turns in there like a pro wrestling story would have, a heel turns and face turns, and good guys becoming bad guys and all kinds of weird stuff. And of course there's a mummy in there, and there's a dragon, and there's aliens, so we were able to cram a whole bunch of weird stuff, silly stuff into that book.
Awesome. And then the other book here that is this will exhaust the pile of Scoot creations that I have set aside. You had lightly mentioned this as well, but The Adventures of Cthulhu Jr. and Friends.
Oh, you got the hardcover edition there.
Yeah, I got that because I got all the bonuses with the plushie and stuff too.
Yeah, sweet. I just heard today that they want to do a digest size of that book. So hey, there he is. Yeah, that was the first time I got one of my characters turned into a stuffed animal or a toy, so that was pretty cool. He's got my track jacket on. That's what he wears in the book, and they did a good job of
did
taking my cartoon and turning it into a little plushie there, so I was happy with that.
Yeah, I never noticed the track jacket detail, and that's awesome now that you pointed that out.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, those are all of the things I have to promote on that side. I don't know if the guys here on the in the show have any lingering questions they want to throw at yet.
Yeah.
I
really-
I
Do you like cake or pie better?
I really want a commission. I want a commission from you.
Oh, okay.
Scoot.
Yeah.
But it takes me so long to decide on things, and it takes me forever to get like what's the perfect thing I could get. The perfect thing
Pro wrestling Batman or something.
Well, I'm loving the Batman. Yeah, but yeah, some kind of maybe I could go with a Brave and Bold theme.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
Batman and one of your characters.
Oh yeah, team up. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'll think of.
Yeah, hit me up when you're ready.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right.
Well, I think that is going to do it. Is there any? You talked about some of the conventions. You got C2E2 coming up. Anything else on the docket that you know of ahead of time?
Cincinnati Comic Expo that's not until the fall, September. C2E2. I don't know if I'm doing too many this summer. Been doing more like library and school appearances locally. So I'll be at the Rossford Public Library in June. If any Rossfordians are listening to this.
Oh, I had a dream. I had a dream that I was at a library in the capital of our province, and it's about 3.5 hours away from where I live. And in that dream, you were at the library, Scoot.
Wow.
It was you.
Maybe it's a premonition. Yeah. You had a,
Yeah.
maybe I'll be there. I don't know. It's possible.
On your
And
way
then-
to BC, you gotta book that plane ticket, buddy.
Just got to
I
fight
do have-
through the.
I do have my passport, so I could do that.
Yeah. That's
Got to
funny.
fight through those
I had a dream
savages.
about you.
Got to fight through.
Must have
the
been after
savages.
all, yeah, podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta stop listening to them while you sleep, man. It's
That
getting a
could have
little.
been it. Yeah, that could have been it.
Yeah.
It'd be a tough time getting over to that island, though, fighting the savages that our Baltazars created that
Right.
surround that island. So, okay, and then social media. Is there any preferred websites and social media they want to plug?
Yeah. My Instagram, my Twitter, and my website are all Scoot Comics. So look for me there. I'm on Facebook as well, but I prefer people contact me through the other mediums there. So
Cool. All right. Well, that was a great hangout to see everything that we've been working on. If people have some of their stuff available to kind of do a last round show, the people watching will see a slideshow at the end during the credits of all the final art. But yeah, feel free to kind of show that off. I had only worked on the Clayface there, but I got actually, if I line it up here, I'm Clayface at the moment.
there he is. Yeah, looks good.
And
Oh,
then,
nice.
everyone else showing off some awesome stuff there. And we've seen a whole, Scoot, there's a little bit of blank space in there. You might be able to fit
Yes.
Batmite in there.
Yeah, under Robin's fist. Yeah, there's some room down there.
Oh, that turned out awesome there, Troy.
Really?
Yeah, that looks good. Yeah,
No,
nice
it
and simple.
doesn't.
Yeah, I like it.
Not
Rodgers
super
says it
happy
doesn't.
with anything I did actually.
It
Actually,
looks
I like my doodles better than I like my
I
actual art.
liked your Hardak Batman.
Oh yeah.
so wonderful.
And
I just made
Rodgers.
Oh,
I made it
look.
into Batman at the last second.
Gonna
Yeah,
put
I like
that
that.
on eBay. Gonna list it as hard ass Batman.
The Red Sky. Yeah, hard ass Batman. Yeah.
Hard butt Batman. Okay, and so that is going to do it. Have fun taking a look at the art in the slideshow. Thank you to Scoot McMahon for showing up here in Cartoonist by Night. It was an awesome
Thanks for
thing.
inviting me. Yeah.
Great discussion, real easy flow. Very, it felt very natural. It was awesome hanging out with you
Cool.
later on, so.
Thank you. Yeah, I had fun with you guys. It was nice to meet some of you guys face to face. So
Yeah.
Scoot McMahon is such a cool guy. That's Scoot McMahon.
And we'll just Mac Mahone. We'll do the ending for the recording here, but we might have a little bit at the very end unrecorded. But we always end an episode of Cartoonist by Night in a very specific way by saying a very specific thing, and that is, we'll see you after the governor's ball.
What?
and sing first.
Shamrock shakes are a beautiful green, the most beautiful green that you've ever seen.
If I remember correctly, Darwin Cook like storyboarded the intro.
Oh, that was Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond, yeah.
Batman Beyond. Never mind then.
I'll cut that out.
Yeah, make me look smart.
I'll do an edit where you say that every like 10 minutes, and then
Yeah,
it's just being
Darwin Cook, fellas.
They
More
made molds of
Batman
actual-
suits need nipples.